Hello YouTube, my name's Jason and this is Lineware. Today we are going to go over inheritance. Inheritance is basically the idea that you can take from a parent class and give to another class. Kind of like in genetics, how you gain similar features from your mother or your father. Like if your mother and father both have black hair, there's a high percentage that you'll have black hair. That's basically what inheritance is with this. And the way we set up inheritance is you need two classes to start with, of course. And we're going to go ahead and say animal on this class. We're going to give the animal class a integer type speed because every animal has a speed, whether it's moving or whether it's stopped and can't move, but it still has a speed, whether it be 0 or 150,000 miles an hour. So let's go ahead and do that. And the way you make a parent class of a child class, and the general terminology for this isn't parent and child class, it's superclass and subclass, and the subclass inherits from the superclass. And the way we do that is we give it the extends keyword in our class definition, which is this right here, and then we just call on animal. Now animal is going to gain all the access from this. We can't really show any real items in the main method because that is a Java method for actually using your items. So let's go ahead and create another method, and we're going to call this void, and we'll call this dog Pug. So let's call it run. Let's call it run because it's a method, and we'll just call it is run. Is running, because you always want these to actually be an action, because methods are your behaviors whereas these are your states. So you always want to make sure these have that verb in them. And we're going to go ahead and we're just going to add speed in here, and we're going to give speed the 20. I guess a dog can run 20 miles an hour. And if you notice, we don't get an error even though we didn't give it a class modifier or a variable type. But that's because it is just overriding this int speed right here. But it's only overriding it for here. It isn't actually overriding it for animal. For that to happen, you would have to have that static keyword in here. And the static keyword basically says that is 20 for everything. So let's go ahead and continue on. Now you can only extend from one class, of course, but you can implement from multiple interfaces. And we have this test interface that we had in our last tutorial. If you remember, it has test and it has something. And I made it where it didn't inherit from the something anymore because I wanted to just go ahead and do implements. And the way you would separate these is by a simple comma. And we're going to go ahead and throw something in here also. Now it inherits from it implements from test and something. This all right here is part of inheritance. And inheritance gives you the benefits of being able to use the class's methods and fields, and that's what it's doing right here. It's just using the classes and fields. And the thing about interfaces is you have to use the methods inside of it. So let's go ahead and do all of them in one quick shot, and we'll just come right over here and then just add implemented methods. And of course it creates them and puts that override annotation above them, but we're not going to use them for anything. We just want to have this without any errors. That way it runs fine whenever we try to do something with it. And now if we try to print out something like from the animal class, say we want to create an animal class, and we're going to call this an object 1, and we're going to give it the value of new dog. Because we can use the constructor of dog because dog inherits from animal. But we can't do it the opposite way. Dog cannot be the class over animal. So we could do it this way, but we can't do it with animal right here and dog on the other side. I'll show you. We could do animal, but we can't do dog, animal, because animal doesn't have any of the features dog does, except for the ones that it actually gives to dog. So you can't actually do it that way. So we'll just do dog, and we'll do animal right here, because animal is a parent class of dog. So now it gains all these features from the dog class. And now all we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we are going to do the isRunning method. And we got to go ahead and let's go ahead and change that to static. That way we don't, well, so see how it come down here and it changed the speed to static, because static methods can only have static speed. So we're just going to go ahead and let it do all them statics. That way we don't have to write out any object for it. And since it does that and we call that, now speed is going to be transformed to 20. And let's see, let's go ahead and system.out.print line, and we'll just go ahead and put speed right here, and then let's go ahead and print that. And if you notice, it prints out 20, but that's only because it's static, and that's why it prints out speed of 20. So let's go ahead and we'll change this. We'll make this a non-static anymore. Let's go ahead and take that out, and that means we actually have to create we already have a dog object, so we don't have to create that. So let's go ahead and do object1.isRunning. And if you notice, isRunning is saying it's not even created, but that's because we're creating an animal class with the dog constructor. For us to do that, and we click this and come down here, now it had to actually create the isRunning class method down here. So let's go ahead and delete that, because we don't want that one right there. Instead, we're going to change this name right here to dog, and now this error should go away. And this doesn't need to be a static anymore. And now we'll print it. Okay, and since this isn't a static anymore, now we have to actually call object1.speed, and now all our errors are gone. And when we print this, we still get 20. But that's because the object1 changed its value to 20. Now if we was to create another object, say we took this and created it, and created another object called dog object2, and made it equal to dog, and said object2 right here, because it's not static, it wouldn't change it. It just stays 0. Well, that's pretty much the extent of inheritance. You remember how to do interfaces. We went over that, so I'm not going to go over it. And that's basically the extent of what inheritance is basically just passing stuff around and the ability to use certain keywords. Now, I do want to say this. If you was to come in here and you was to say create another integer and called it speed and gave it a value of like 34, what this would do would be it would hide this one. So therefore you wouldn't see this one anymore, and it would just hide it. So if we went around and we printed this out, now we get 34 because speed is 34, and it hides this one so you can't find it anymore. Another great thing is you can call methods from here just as you would the other ones, so long as you have that static keyword. Let's go ahead and create a static void pup method, and we'll just give it one system.out.print line, and we'll have this print out I am crazy, and we'll come back up to the top where our methods are. We don't really need most of that stuff, but we'll keep it anyway. So let's go ahead, and since this is a static, we can just go pup, throw that on it, and bada bing bada boom, done. And pup since it's static, that means there's only one of them. It was inherited over here, so now it can just be straight used. And whenever we print it, you'll see I am crazy written on the screen. Also, you can actually override these methods. So if I wanted to change up pup, say, what was all the statistics of pup? I'll just copy this. Let's go ahead and we'll just delete that. And we'll just make it a normal void because we don't want it to be straight like that. And we'll just throw this on here. Whoa, can't throw a method inside of a method. Can throw a class inside of a method. Don't make no sense though, does it? So now we have this, and what we need to do is we just need to go object one.pup, and now this is actually just overriding this method right here. So whenever we print it out on the screen, we need to change this and just say I am not crazy, and we'll print it, and now it says I am not crazy, and it still gives that 34, which was up at the top. And that's how you would override a method from your superclass. Those are some of the benefits of inheritance. There's a little more on inheritance that I'm going to go over in future tutorials, probably the next tutorials, like more depth in polymorphism and how hiding fields and all that stuff. But that's all I'm going over in this tutorial. Thank you for watching. My name's Jason. This was Lineware. Please comment, rate, and subscribe, and have a great day.